Hi, this is Jim, and welcome to another Glenside Public Library Quick Tips video. In this video, we're going to continue our look at Excel pivot tables. When last we left off, we had created a pivot table based on these 176 rows of data, and this represents all of our staff by their age, sex, education level, their job roles, their salaries, etc., etc., etc. We are at a point where we are viewing by job role average salaries of both men and women and a grand total, and we included a filter for educational level so that if we want to see just those with PhDs or doctorates, we can do so. But there is a more elegant way to do filtering in Excel. So I'm going to drag education level out so we lose that filter, and I'm instead going to go up to the Analyze tab, and I'm going to insert a slicer. And this gives me slicer options for all of my fields. I'm actually going to choose education level and sex, because I can add more than one at a time. I can certainly go back and add more. So this works just as a filter does, but these can be customized. You can change colors and styles, etc., etc. So if you're creating a dashboard, you can make it really look quite elegant. So if I want to see just those PhDs, I click doctorate. What if I only want to see female PhDs? I click female. Bachelor's, master's, multi-select. Maybe I want to do higher level degrees, both men and women. Slicers are very handy, and again, in a dashboard, they can look really, really sharp. Now, let's take a look. I've created another sheet with, just at this point, the job roles. And I'm going to take job role again, and I'm going to drag it down into the values area. And what I get is a field called count of job roles. What this is in reality is number of employees in each of the job roles, right? So let's just call this employees instead. Now, if I'm wondering, just who have we hired over the course of the company's lifetime? How many people, in what year, etc., etc.? Well, instead of a slicer, I'm going to go up and insert a timeline. Now, timeline only uses fields that have recognized date formats. So start date's the only one. So I'm going to click on start date and hit OK. And boom, I get a timeline. Currently, and I make it big as I need to, currently I'm going by month and showing everything from our first employee back in January of '88 to December of 2015. Now that's a lot to deal with, but if I use this field, I can go by days, which would be crazy in this case, quarters, or years. So 1988, we've started out with one sales manager. What exactly he was doing all by himself, I don't know. 89, we grow some more, and I can actually highlight more. So if I go, I can see the first 10 years. Those are the staff members we hired in the first 10 years of the company. And I can drag it further. We can see our growth over time. And we can again look a year at a time, anytime we wish to. We can see that in 2004 we had some pretty big expansion. Again, it's just like a slicer, except it's for date fields, and it's called a timeline. Okay. The last thing I want to show you is a pivot chart. Now, if I'm here on my original pivot table, I can go to pivot chart. And let's just go at the clustered column. And yes, I know I'm covering up my slicers, but I'm not worrying about that right now. Now, what if I don't want to see broken out by men and women? Notice, because the pivot chart is linked to this, it changes my pivot table as well. They are linked. So I'm going to delete this chart, and I'm actually going to go back to my original data tab and go to Insert. And over in the Charts area, I can do a pivot chart from here. Standard, just as we inserted our pivot tables. I'm going to put it in a new worksheet. And I'm going to click on Job Role and Salary. And notice this time we're doing a sum of salary, which is useful because it shows us where our salary outlay is at. At this point, we have a functioning chart that happens to be tied to this particular table. So that if we did want to filter, we could do so. We could also add a slicer for educational level. And so it's all tied together. You see, it takes a moment to recycle, but it works just fine. So this concludes our introduction to pivot tables. I hope you found them interesting. Remember, you can go back and look at parts 1, 2 as well, and hope you get some use out of pivot tables in your own work. Thank you for watching. Goodbye now.